And good evening, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. My name is Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am recording tonight as we watch the Stanley Cup get paraded around the ice there at Sunrise. Florida Panthers closing it out, winning Game 7 after all the missteps, all the anxiety, all the shell shocked ness that they had over the last 3 games. They come in and they get it done tonight. First ever Stanley Cup for the organization. Um, Good on them. We're going to talk about that. Guys, I almost don't even really know where to start today. There was so much news that came out. Some news that came out, of course, right before the puck dropped tonight. So, want to go over some of that before we get into the game. But yeah, just a great night, a great way to close out the season. And what a great 2023-2024 it was here for the NHL. Gonna start in Toronto. Uh, Goalie news, Joseph Wall getting his extension, 3 years. At the time of the reporting, it was rumored to be between 3.5 and 4 million per season, and that deal will kick in 2024 2025. I'm sorry, 2026. But he's 25 years old. He is the future. He is the now for Toronto. 25 games last year. He had a 2.94 goals against average, 907 save percentage. And yeah, I mean, the net's going to be his for sure. Some rumors about Mitch Marner today. Word was that they are really not looking to re-sign him. There was some rumors the last couple of days about they were going to try to work on an extension for him. That's doesn't look like it's in the books. Earlier this afternoon, there was some rumor that came out that there was a deal worked out with Toronto and Utah to send Marner out to the new Utah organization. That was all the water was thrown on that. Looked like a false rumor. But I will be curious as we get closer to the deadline. He's a huge name, and there'll be so many teams in on Mitch. So keep your eyes open there. Uh, and now we're going to talk about goalies in Boston, and we're going to start with not the biggest name, but we're going to start with Brandon Bussey. Early this afternoon, Bussey does get extended to be expected, 1 year, $775,000 two-way deal. And as soon as that happened, all the talk, all the conversation was, okay, how close are we on Linus Hallmark? When is this going to happen? And just before they drop the puck, the news comes out that Boston and Ottawa have made a deal. And immediately I could hear the rumblings from Boston of how unhappy everybody was about this one. But I do want to talk about it a little bit, break it down. Most of you watching this probably already know that um, Linus Allmark heading to Ottawa in exchange for Jonas Corposalo, goalie, a 2024 first round draft pick, which is oddly enough the same draft pick that Boston traded to Detroit for Tyler Bertuzzi, and a forward, Mark Kastelik, fourth line physical type player. In the deal, Ottawa's retaining 25% of Corpusalo's salary, so you get a little cap savings there if you're Boston. Really, the breakdown here, Corpusalo, he's 30 years old. He signed through 27-28, so a few years of term. The contract is a $4 million contract, so with that 25%, simple math, it's going to be a $3 million cap hit for the Bees. Playing on a very bad team, something to keep in mind. He was 21, 26, and 4 with a not a great 3.27 goals against and an 890 save percentage. And will by all accounts, be the clear backup now to Jeremy Swayman. Um, Kastelik is a 25-year-old, big physical kid, 6'4", 226 pounds. He'll be a just over $800,000 cap hit for the Bees next year. 63 games last year in Ottawa, 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points. Does play a very heavy physical style, can play the center dot. Um, all indications is he's really fits the Bruins mold and fits what has kind of been missing here the last couple of years. and I think he'll be a well liked player, but definitely a bottom, you know, bottom three, bottom four type, type player on the line. So we'll see what happens there. And you do get the first round pick, number 25 overall. So uh, good on the Beast for that piece. Um, Again, all the reactions are the Bruins got hosed and Sweeney got hosed in this, and how dare he trade our all world Venzee winning goaltender. Guys, if you just go back to a couple videos ago where I talked about this, when the Markstrom trade happened, you have to reset your expectations when it comes to trading goaltenders. They never bring in the full haul that you expect. In this deal, you get the first round pick. You secure something you're going to need as a backup goaltender. I know you have Brandon Bussey. Maybe he's ready to go. Maybe he's not. We don't know. But you bring in Corpusello to be that veteran backup, and you get a big, young, physical forward that I believe he'll be an RFA after next year. So you have a little control over him, who was, again, something that the team really needs. And in the deal, they also shave about 1.165 million off the cap. So, in that regard, the trade really does check off a lot of boxes for Boston. It's not, getting Kachuk. It's not even getting Jake Chikrin and a pick like a lot of people wanted, but it's not the worst haul you could have got. Now, obviously, in this deal, Ottawa's getting the best player. We know that. Um, Ullmark, 30 years old, was 22, 10, and 7, 2.58 goals against, and a 915 save percentage. So I just don't know what else could have been done outside of just not trading Allmark. I don't know how many other teams were going to be in on Allmark. Um, and Corpusel is going to be a true backup. Okay, this isn't going to be a 1A, 1B like it was with Swayman and Allmark. Swayman is ready to go. He's ready to be your 1A. And Corpusella, when he hasn't played for horrible teams like he has in Columbus and Ottawa, he's had some decent years. Not earth shattering, but decent. Better than what he had last year. And you also have goalie Bob Asenza, the goalie coach, who uh, really can work some magic. Get him in our program. Corpusel will be playing for a better team in front of him. So you throw him out there for, 25, 30 games this year. I think you're okay. I think you're okay. And along with all this, guys, is the Bruins may not be done. Okay. We're not even at July 1 yet. Um, you know, uh, Sweeney may not be done. That first round pick, maybe he flips that for something else. Um, you know, maybe somehow they can move Corpusella. Maybe they have a plan in place for that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I know that most Bruins fans are looking at that deal and saying, "Oh, awful! We got fleeced," and Sweeney loses that one. But just calm down, take a deep breath, everybody. You just don't typically get the return on these goaltenders that you think you should. Again, you value your goaltender more than the rest of the league does. So, all in all, I think you checked a lot of boxes. You got a lot of things done there in that deal. Not the ideal situation, but it's fine. I think it's fine. Let me know your thoughts down below. Really curious. Anybody wanting to comment down below? Let me know what you think of it. Did we win the deal? Did we lose the deal? Is it the worst thing you've ever seen? Yeah, let me know your thoughts. All right. So, with all that news out of the way, and typical Boston fashion, they have to make a splash, right before the biggest game of the year in the NHL. But we have a game 7 to review. Obviously, Florida on their heels, coming back from Edmonton, uh, seemingly had this cup in the bag, and now having to fight for their lives in a game 7 kind of winner take all situation. First period, I really felt was going to be important for Florida, and they really did come out of the gate chipping. Really came out physical. They looked and felt like the old Florida Panthers that we had seen just a couple weeks ago, and what us Bruins fans have seen for the past couple of years, right? But at the 2:21 mark, Florida does get a power play, high stick. Uh, Edmonton doing a great job clearing it out. They kill it out. I don't believe there's any shots on that power play for Florida. But right after this, like right after this, Verhage, of course, it's Verhage. Getting he's a big time playoff performer. Gets a chip in off of a shot from Rodriguez, and it's 1-0 at the 4:27 mark. Not long after this, Myanmar for Edmonton ties it on a breakaway, something that Florida has struggled with this year or in this playoff. Ties at the 6:44 mark, just makes a great play, gets it out and gets it by Bob. But really, so you're at 1-1, but bodies and sticks really looking far more active for Florida. They look more engaged, more like I said, more like themselves. Hyman makes a real nifty move to win the puck down in the ozone. It really, at that point, leads to Edmonton's best ozone shift of the period. A period where Florida was really kind of controlling the offensive play and the style. But that was a shift that I kind of noted as, hey, if this thing turns around, that might be a marker to look back on. Um, Bouchard hits a post at 13:09, so beats Bob clean, just doesn't go in, just doesn't go in. And really, the last couple minutes though of that period, Edmonton's starting to struggle to get pucks out clean, and it really leads to some nice chances for the Panthers. Um, like I said, Florida getting back to their forechecking game, um, and really kind of dictating the play there throughout that period. But it is 1-1 after one. Second period to get to the 3:22 mark. Power play called for Edmonton. A trip on Kachuk. Now, on this play, Kachuk is basically sliding on the ice. Looks like he stumbles or falls down, gets tripped up. He falls, he's sliding across and takes on one of the Edmonton players. They called a trip on Kachuk. A lot of us Florida fans were up in arms about it. How is that? How can that be a trip? He's just falling down. He's not in control. I think it's more of a reputation type call. Matt Kachuk is pretty sneaky with these things. How many times does he, kind of accidentally, falls into a goaltender and oh, I just accidentally hit him or I accidentally fell down there. He's kind of has a little bit of a reputation for that. I kind of wonder if that's not where that call comes from, but anyway, Edmonton does get the power play, and they really that first minute and a half or so of that power play, they don't let Florida out of the zone. They control it. They're moving it around, getting some looks. Stenlin for Florida without a stick, so you're out there kind of 5 on 3.5, and finally Bob's able to freeze the puck, get the change. Um, a couple more good looks for Edmonton on that one, but it is killed off. Um, and then you have a long ozone time again for Edmonton, um, another minute and a half around the 9-minute mark where Florida just can't clear it out. So Edmonton's starting to kind of find their game a little bit, find their rhythm. Um, but Florida survives that as Bob continuing to make good saves. Bob's really becoming a story again in this game. Really a great bounce back for him. Um, from there, Yanmark beats out an icing for Edmonton, leads to another quality ozone time. So again, you're starting to see Edmonton winning some of these battles, getting back to their game a little bit, tilting the ice a little bit. And then two very close calls by both teams around the 15-minute mark, one after another on both sides. Both could have really gone in, but goaltenders both playing well. And right after that, Reinhardt off a near miss on a breakout, um, buries it, buries it. Now you're 2-1. Edmonton's deep here on that play. It seems like they kind of backed up really kind of too much, maybe a little miscommunication, a little too tight together. Really allowed Reinhardt just a beautiful look in and pots it. So that period ends 2-1 Florida. You go into the third period at the 3:23 mark. Florida gets a power play. Uh, Players being checked for blood. They're pushing for maybe a double minor or maybe a major on that one, but it stays a 2-minute power play. Really a big spot in the game. Early in that third period, Edmonton's trying to push, and if you're thinking right there, Florida can get that third one, uh, game over most likely. But um, Florida, generates a little bit, but Edmonton does get a couple of good clear outs. They get a shorthanded opportunity that doesn't go in. Um, Bouncing puck kind of around the Edmonton net, point blank opportunity for Bennett that Skinner's able to kill off. Um, It's at this point after that gets killed off and kinda getting into it, you can notice that McDavid and Draisaitl, have been put on the same line. They typically don't play on the same line until they get to situations like this. So, at this point, they've really shortened the bench if you're the Oilers, and, I think you're only playing maybe 2 lines for the last, like, 6, 7 minutes of that game, doing everything they can to try to generate opportunities and generate shots. Um, and they really start to push, though. You see right around the 9-minute mark, Edmonton really starting to create more. Florida starting to take more icings, just kind of trying to survive, trying to hold on, dumping the puck out, live to find another day, trying to limit those chances. Um, and on one of them, actually, Reinhardt almost scores again. He's actually just clearing the puck out. Florida was changing, and he somehow is able to get it, uh, kind of gets it around Bouchard and gets all the way in on Skinner. Not really able to shoot the puck, but it was another one that was like, oh boy, that was a close call for the Oilers. But from there, right around kind of the 13-minute mark, another major flurry of activity for Edmonton. A lot of chances, a lot of close calls. Bouchard, McDavid, Hyman, all with grade A chances, and I'm kinda surprised not one of those could go in. Very, very close to tying it up there. Another crazy flurry of chances at around the 16-minute mark. Bob actually goes down, he loses his stick, the puck's right there, and, Edmonton just cannot find a way to bury one. It was a little crazy world, watching that. I kept expecting that puck to cross the line at some point, and it just never did. Another chip by McDavid that just goes over the net, that leads to another flurry as we're getting now closer and closer to the end. Edmonton calls their timeout at 18:25, so just a minute and a half left in the game. And the commentators on ESPN mentioning it that Edmonton just looks gassed. You shorten your bench that much. The stars are out there for all those shifts, and you could tell once that goalie was pulled, they had nothing left. They couldn't get the puck out. They couldn't get it. I don't think they generate another shot, um, with the goalie pulled. So there you have it. Florida skates out the puck. They don't get an empty netter, but they're able to skate it out, kind of avoid any other major opportunities, and a 2-1 victory. Congrats to the Florida Panthers, first ever Stanley Cup uh, in their organization. As we've talked over this past month, they've been right on the verge of this now for a few years. Good to see the Cup come back east, back in the Atlantic Division, back in Florida after Tampa having it for a couple of years. I'm so happy for the coach. I'm so happy for him. He's a long time coach in this league, and yeah, just good on him that he's able to finally win one. Uh, just entertaining game. Great flurry of close calls there at the end for Edmonton. I think a really amazing bounce back, both for Florida being able to find their game quicker and more often tonight, and a great bounce back game for Bobrovsky. Really thought he played excellent tonight. They did have to kind of, hold on, kind of skin of their teeth at the end. You've got the two of the best players in the world out there just firing bullets at you, but you get through it. You get through and you're able to lift that cup. They're going to have quite the party tonight. I have no doubt. As far as Edmonton goes, I think really a bittersweet end. It's never fun when you lose the last game, but they battled back. And to be down 0-3, to have the fortitude to stick with it, to believe in yourselves, to believe in that room, to believe in your coach. Um, good on them for forcing it, but you dug yourself a big hole, and it proves too much to be able uh, to get yourself out of that. So I'll be curious to hear what Coach Maurice has to say. Again, really happy for him and his group, and I think Sean Thornton is part of that organization too. Former Bruin, so good on him as well to be part of that organization. And you know what, as a Bruins fan, good to get out of their system. Now give somebody else a turn next year, right? So, but again, congrats to them. And that's a wrap. That's a wrap on the 23-24 season. One heck of a season. Um, October will be here before you know it. But we'll have plenty of more coming up this next weekend. We have the NHL draft. Of course, right now, Boston does have that first round pick. We'll see if they hold on to it, see who they take. There'll be more trades. And then, of course, as we get into July 1, all the free agency frenzy stuff starts. So there'll be tons and tons to talk about. And I'll be here to cover all of it for you guys. Um, Thank you guys for listening. If you like what you're hearing here, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And we will talk to you all again soon.